Has this ever happened to you? You wake up one morning, check your phone, and see a strange message. It says you won a prize. Or maybe it's a text from a number you don't know, pretending to be your relative asking for money. For many Filipinos, this is a daily thing. Our cell phones, which connect us to family and the world, have also become a way for criminals to get to us. These scammers are like ghosts. They are invisible, hiding behind screens, waiting for the perfect time to attack. They target everyone, from students to grandparents, from people in the city to those in far-off provinces. The money they steal is not just numbers on a screen. It represents hard work, dreams, and the future of families. The problem got much worse recently. When the world changed because of the pandemic, our lives moved online. We started buying our food online. We paid our bills online. We sent money to our loved ones online. This big change to digital was handy, but it also opened a very wide door for scammers. They saw a chance in our new habits. They made fake websites that looked real. They sent fake emails that looked official. They learned how to trick people into giving away their most private information, like passwords and one-time PINs. Suddenly, the enemy was not just outside our homes, but inside our pockets, buzzing with a notification that could lead to heartbreak. Imagine how a hardworking teacher feels when she finds out her savings are gone, or an overseas Filipino worker who discovers the money she sent for her family's needs was stolen. This is the heavy price of digital scams. It is a quiet crime that leaves a loud and terrible impact. The trust we put in our digital tools is broken. People become afraid to use online banking or e-wallets, the very technologies meant to make our lives easier. This fear spreads like a virus, affecting not just the victims, but the whole community. The digital world was supposed to bring progress, but for many, it brought pain and loss instead. This growing problem reached a breaking point. Lawmakers, banks, and regular citizens knew that something had to be done. We could not just stand by and watch as more and more Filipinos fell victim to these heartless plans. The old ways of fighting crime were not enough for this new type of criminal. A stronger, more modern weapon was needed. The call for action became louder and louder. The Philippines needed a powerful shield to protect its people in the digital age. This was the moment that led to a very important decision, a bold step to fight back against the unseen enemies who were stealing our hard-earned money and our peace of mind. So, how did we get here? How did these scams become so common in the Philippines? It was like a perfect storm, where several problems came together at the same time. The biggest factor was the rapid shift to digital. Because of the pandemic, almost everyone had to learn how to use digital payments, e-wallets, and online banking very quickly. We did not have time to slowly adjust. We were forced to adapt overnight. This sudden change meant that many people were using these new technologies without fully understanding the risks. They were like new drivers on a very busy highway, unsure of all the rules and dangers lurking around them. Another major reason was the lack of awareness and education. While technology moved fast, our knowledge about online safety did not keep up. Scammers are very good at social engineering. This means they are experts in manipulating people's emotions. They create a sense of urgency, making you feel like you have to act immediately or you'll miss out on something great. They prey on fear, telling you your account is in danger. They also use our kindness, pretending to be a friend in need. Without proper education on how to spot these tricks, many Filipinos became easy targets for these psychological games. The laws we had were also part of the problem. They were old. They were written for a world that existed before smartphones and e-wallets became a part of our daily lives. These laws were not designed to handle crimes that happen in cyberspace, where criminals can be anywhere in the world. It was difficult to trace them, and even harder to prosecute them. The penalties were not scary enough to stop them. For the scammers, it was a low-risk, high-reward business. They knew that the chances of getting caught were slim, and even if they were, the punishment would not be severe. This legal loophole gave them the confidence to continue their illegal activities without fear. Finally, the economic situation played a big role. Many Filipinos are looking for ways to earn extra income. Scammers take advantage of this by offering fake jobs or unbelievable investment opportunities. They promise easy money, a way out of financial hardship. When people are desperate, they are more likely to take risks and believe promises that are too good to be true. This combination of fast technology, low awareness, weak laws, and economic need created the perfect environment for scams to not just survive, but to thrive. affecting millions of lives across the archipelago and causing billions of pesos in losses. It was a national problem that demanded a national solution. Faced with this growing crisis, the Philippine government knew it had to act decisively. The response came in the form of a powerful new Law Republic Act, number 11,934, also known as the Anti-Financial Account Scamming Act, or AFASA. This wasn't just another piece of paper, it was designed to be a strong shield for the Filipino people. The main goal of AFASA is simple: to go after the scammers and the networks that help them. It was created to solve the specific problems that allowed these crimes to flourish. It aims to make it much harder for criminals to use financial accounts, like bank accounts and e-wallets, for their illegal activities. So what exactly is AFASA? Think of it as a major upgrade to our country's legal weapons against financial crime. Before AFASA, acts like buying or selling a bank account to a scammer were not clearly defined as a serious crime. AFASA changed that. It specifically targets the entire ecosystem of scamming. This includes not just the masterminds who plan the scams, but also the people who act as money mules. These are individuals who let scammers use their personal bank accounts to receive and move stolen money, making it difficult for authorities to trace the funds back to the real criminals. AFASA makes being a money mule a crime with serious consequences. The law was created to address the gaps in our old system. For example, it was difficult for banks to freeze a suspicious account quickly without a court order, even if they suspected it was being used for a scam. By the time the legal papers were ready, the stolen money was often long gone, transferred through multiple accounts. AFASA gives financial institutions like banks and e-wallet providers the power to act faster. They can now freeze suspicious accounts more quickly and share information with each other and with law enforcement agencies to track down the criminals. This makes the entire financial system a more hostile environment for scammers. In essence, AFASA was born out of necessity. It was a direct answer to the cries for help from countless victims. It recognized that digital scams are not just simple theft, they are a complex problem that requires a coordinated response from the government, banks, and the public. The law sends a clear message to scammers. Your days of operating freely in the Philippines are numbered. It provides the legal backbone for a more aggressive and proactive fight against financial fraud. It is a promise of better protection for every Filipino who uses digital financial services, aiming to restore trust in the digital economy that is so crucial for our country's progress. To truly understand why AFASA is so important, we must listen to the stories of the people who have been hurt by these scams. These are not just statistics. They are real people with real families and real dreams that were shattered. Take the case of a group of public school teachers. They worked hard every day, saving their modest salaries for their families' futures. One day, they received messages claiming there was a problem with their payroll accounts. The message looked official and created a sense of panic. Trusting the sender, they clicked on a link and entered their private banking details. Within minutes, their accounts were emptied, all their savings gone in a flash. These heartbreaking stories show how scammers are masters of deception. They are clever and know how to exploit our trust in institutions. Another common and devastating scam involves overseas Filipino workers. An overseas Filipino worker in the Middle East might send her hard-earned money home through a remittance center. But a scammer, who has hacked into her family member's social media account, will send a message. The message will say, "Please send the money to this new bank account instead." Believing it's a legitimate request from their loved one, the family sends the money to the scammer's account. The money meant for food, tuition, and medicine disappears forever. The problem is made worse by the existence of large-scale money mule networks. Scammers can't use their own bank accounts, so they recruit or trick people into lending their accounts. Sometimes they offer a small payment to a student or an unemployed person in exchange for opening a bank account and giving them the debit card and PIN. These individuals become money mules, often without fully understanding the crime they are helping to commit. The stolen money from victims, like the teachers, is quickly transferred through a series of these mule accounts, making it almost impossible for police to follow the trail. The money gets laundered and disappears into the criminal underworld. These stories highlight the deep human cost of financial scams. It's not just about the money, it is about the violation of trust, the emotional distress, and the feeling of helplessness. Victims often blame themselves, feeling ashamed and embarrassed to report the crime. This silence only empowers the scammers more. The pain ripples through families and communities. A single scam can prevent a child from going to college, a family from paying their rent, or an elderly person from buying their maintenance medicine. AFASA was created for these victims, to give them justice and to prevent others from suffering the same fate. So, AFASA is not just a warning, it actually has real teeth. The law introduces significant changes that, fundamentally alter how the Philippines fights financial crime. One of the most important changes is the introduction of stronger and more specific penalties. Before, the legal consequences for someone who sold their bank account were honestly pretty unclear. But now, under AFASA, anyone who knowingly participates in these schemes faces serious jail time and hefty fines. This includes not just the masterminds, but also the money mules. The law makes it clear that lending your account to a criminal is a crime in itself, which serves as a powerful deterrent for those tempted by the promise of easy money. It also empowers our financial institutions. Previously, banks and e-wallet companies had their hands tied by strict regulations that sometimes slowed down their response to fraud. AFASA changes this by giving them the authority to temporarily freeze accounts involved in suspicious activities without waiting for a lengthy court process. They can even take down websites and social media pages that are being used for phishing and other scams. This allows for a much faster reaction time. When a scam is reported, banks can now act within minutes or hours, not days, potentially stopping the stolen money from being moved and increasing the chances of recovery for the victim. Furthermore, AFASA mandates that banks and other financial institutions must really step up their game when it comes to technology. The law requires them to adopt more robust systems for fraud detection and prevention. This means they can no longer rely on old manual methods. They have to invest in modern technologies that can monitor transactions in real time, looking for patterns that might indicate fraud. For example, if an account that usually only receives a small monthly salary suddenly gets a large deposit that is immediately transferred out to multiple other accounts, the system should flag it as suspicious. This push for technological upgrades is, honestly, crucial in a world where criminals are also using advanced tech. This new legal framework also fosters greater cooperation. AFASA encourages and protects the sharing of information between different banks, e-wallet providers, and government agencies like the Philippine National Police and the National Bureau of Investigation. In the past, data privacy concerns could sometimes hinder investigations. Now there is a clear legal basis for these institutions to work together to unmask scammers and dismantle their networks. By breaking down the walls between different organizations, AFASA creates a united front against financial criminals, making the entire system stronger and more resilient. It truly is a game changer in the fight to protect our digital economy. While AFASA is a monumental step forward, the road to a scam-free Philippines is not without its obstacles. The fight is far from over, and we face several significant challenges. One of the biggest hurdles remains the low level of digital and financial literacy among the general public. A law can only do so much if people are not aware of the dangers and how to protect themselves. Scammers are constantly inventing new tricks, and many Filipinos, especially the elderly or those in rural areas with limited access to information, are still vulnerable. We need a continuous and widespread education campaign to teach everyone how to spot red flags and practice safe online habits. Another serious challenge is the risk of punishing innocent people. The law targets money mules, but sometimes the mules themselves are victims. They may have been tricked into giving up their account details, or their identity may have been stolen and used to open an account without their knowledge. We must be very careful to distinguish between those who knowingly participate in crime and those who are exploited. Law enforcement and financial institutions need to conduct thorough investigations to avoid penalizing innocent individuals. Striking this balance between aggressive enforcement and protecting the rights of the innocent is a delicate and crucial task. The nature of these crimes also presents a geographic challenge. The Philippines is an archipelago with many remote islands and rural communities. People in these areas are increasingly using digital payments, but they may have less access to support if they become victims. A person in a big city might be able to go directly to their bank's main office, but someone in a small barrio might not have that option. Ensuring that the protections and remedies under AFASA are accessible to every single Filipino, regardless of where they live, is a major logistical challenge that requires creative solutions, perhaps through local government units and community centers. Finally, the criminals themselves are a challenge. They are adaptable and relentless. As soon as one scamming method is exposed, they create a new one. They use technology to hide their identities and locations, often operating from outside the country, which makes investigation and prosecution very complicated. This means our fight against them cannot be a one-time effort. We must constantly be learning, adapting, and upgrading our defenses. The challenge is to stay one step ahead of the scammers, which requires ongoing investment in technology, intelligence gathering, and international cooperation. Overcoming these hurdles is essential for AFASA to achieve its full potential. To win this ongoing battle against scammers, laws like AFASA must be supported by powerful technology. Financial institutions can no longer just react to fraud after it happens. They must be proactive and prevent it. This is where modern digital guardians come in. The most important tool in this new arsenal is real-time transaction monitoring. Advanced software can now watch over millions of transactions as they happen, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This software is programmed to look for unusual behavior. For instance, if your phone suddenly logs into your bank account from a different country, the system can instantly flag it and send you an alert, or even temporarily block the transaction until you confirm it is you. Automation is another key weapon. Imagine having to manually check every single transaction for fraud. It would be impossible. Automation allows banks to handle this massive scale. Automated systems can analyze huge amounts of data in seconds, identifying connections between suspicious accounts that a human might miss. For example, if dozens of different accounts all send money to one single account, an automated system can quickly identify that receiving account as a potential money mule hub and freeze it. This speed is critical because in the world of scams, money moves in the blink of an eye. Automation helps us move just as fast or even faster. The most exciting development in this field is the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning. AI is like a super smart detective that is always learning. It doesn't just follow a fixed set of rules. It learns the normal behavior of each customer. It knows what time you usually do your banking, the stores you often shop at, and how much you typically spend. When something deviates from your personal pattern, the AI can spot it. For example, if you never buy cryptocurrency and suddenly there is a large crypto purchase from your account, the AI will recognize this as highly unusual and can block the payment, protecting your money before it's too late. This constant improvement of fraud detection systems is now a requirement, not a choice. Banks and e-wallet companies must continuously invest in upgrading their technology because the scammers are always evolving their methods. It is an arms race, and we need the best weapons. These digital guardians, real-time monitoring, automation, and AI work silently in the background, protecting our accounts. They are the invisible heroes that complement the legal power of AFASA, creating a multi-layered defense system. By combining a strong law with smart technology, the Philippines is building a much safer digital environment for all its citizens. The problem of online scams is not unique to the Philippines. It is a global plague. Countries all over the world are struggling to keep up with these tech-savvy criminals. In this context, the Philippines' AFASA can be seen as a significant and proactive model that other nations can learn from. Many countries have laws against fraud, of course, but AFASA is notable for its very specific focus on the entire scamming ecosystem. It doesn't just punish the main scammer, it also criminalizes the actions of money mules and gives clear powers to financial institutions to act quickly. This comprehensive approach is something other legal systems could adopt. Let's compare AFASA to laws in other places. In some Western countries, data privacy laws are so strict that they can sometimes make it difficult for banks to share information about potential fraud networks with each other. While protecting privacy is very important, AFASA strikes a balance. It allows for the necessary sharing of information between banks and with law enforcement for the specific purpose of preventing and investigating financial crimes. This collaborative approach is a key strength. Similarly, Countries like Singapore have implemented strong measures, including a shared kill switch that allows customers to quickly freeze all their bank accounts if they suspect they've been scammed. AFASA's provision for rapid account freezing is in line with these best practices. What makes AFASA a potential beacon is its relevance to other developing nations. Many countries in Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America are also experiencing rapid digitalization, just like the Philippines. Their populations are quickly adopting mobile banking and e-wallets, but they also face similar challenges of low digital literacy and legal systems that haven't caught up with technology. AFASA provides a practical blueprint for how a developing country can create a modern law to tackle a modern crime. It shows that it is possible to take bold legislative action to protect citizens and secure the future of the digital economy without waiting for the problem to become uncontrollable. Of course, no law is perfect, and implementation is key. But the principles behind AFASA, targeting the entire criminal network, empowering banks to act fast, mandating technological upgrades, and fostering collaboration, are universally applicable. As other countries watch the Philippines implement this law, they can learn from our successes and our challenges. The Philippines, by passing AFASA, has not only taken a step to protect its own people, but has also contributed a valuable case study to the global fight against financial fraud. It sends a message that we are not just victims, we are innovators in creating a safer digital world for everyone. The passage of AFASA marks the beginning of a new chapter, not the end of the story. The road ahead requires continuous effort and vigilance to build a truly secure digital future for all Filipinos. While the law provides a powerful framework, its success will depend on how well it is implemented and how we adapt to new threats. One of the next crucial steps is to strengthen our national identification system. A reliable and universal national ID, like the PhilSys ID, can make it much harder for criminals to create fake identities or use stolen ones to open mule accounts. When every account is tied to a verified, unique identity, the anonymity that scammers rely on will begin to disappear. We must also focus on making our response to scams even faster and more efficient. This means creating a centralized, one-stop-shop reporting system. Imagine a single hotline or website where a victim can report a scam, and this report is instantly shared with their bank, the police, and other relevant agencies. This would trigger an immediate, coordinated response to freeze accounts and begin an investigation. Streamlining this process will save valuable time, which can mean the difference between recovering stolen funds and losing them forever. This requires deep integration between government agencies and the private sector, working together seamlessly. Education must remain a top priority. The government, schools, banks, and media must work together on a sustained, nationwide campaign to raise digital literacy. This campaign should be simple, accessible, and available in different local languages. It should use TV, radio, social media, and community gatherings to teach people practical skills, how to create strong passwords, how to recognize phishing emails, and why they should never, ever share their OTPs. An educated public is the first and best line of defense against scams. When people are empowered with knowledge, they become much harder to trick. Looking to the future, we must be prepared to evolve. As technology changes, so will the methods of criminals. We must be ready to amend and improve our laws like AFASA to keep up with new challenges, such as scams involving AI or deepfakes. Our regulatory bodies, like the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, must continue to push financial institutions to adopt the latest security technologies. The journey is long, but with a strong legal foundation in AFASA, a commitment to technology, continuous education, and a spirit of collaboration, the Philippines can navigate the road ahead. We can build a digital economy that is not only prosperous and inclusive, but also safe and trustworthy for every Filipino.